Japan is a mostly peaceful nation, with a small crime rate. It doesn't get as much murders or kidnappings or theft or anything like that. It does get it, there is the Yakuza. Close enough, and just regular criminals, but compared to other developed countries, it's a lot lower. However, whenever they do commit a big crime, they always seem to take it up to the next level. There's the Junko Furuka case, the Nevada Chan case, and the Kurobi child murders. All really creepy crimes. However, today I will be focusing not on a single person, but a group of people. A family, in fact. A father, a wife, a daughter, and a son, who were just living their life until it was taken away from them. On December 30th, 2000, the Miyazawa family were murdered in the safety of their own home in Setagaya, Japan. Not only that, but the killer also ate their food, used the computer, and stayed the night, as if this were the Overlook Hotel. Who did this and why this happens remains a mystery. 25 years later, even with all the evidence left behind, it's one of Japan's most baffling murder cases. I'll be looking at the murders, its theories, and the aftermath of what happened that night. So get in that robot, and let's take a look at the Setagaya family murders. The Miyazawas were your average Japanese family. Mikio Miyazawa was 44 years old and born around 1956. He was an employee at an international marketing company called Interbrand, a company based in England. He was described as nice and intelligent, a family man. He was married to a woman named Yasuko, who was born around 1959 and was a teacher at a local school. They had 2 children, a daughter and a son. Their daughter, Niina, was born in 1992. She was an active girl who loved ballet and soccer. Ray was born in 1994. He had a speech impediment that made it hard to understand him, but he was their pride and joy. It made him harder to raise, but they loved him, of course. People described him as a friendly family. The couple moved into the house in 1990. The house was actually 2 houses wedged into each other. The other half belonged to Yasuko's sister, her brother-in-law, and her mother. There was no way to get to the other half inside, so they had to use the outside door to visit. The community they lived in used to be vibrant, with many houses and families. However, by the turn of the century, most of the families had moved out, and the houses were demolished. This was because the park in the city expanded. The remaining houses were planned for this. Only 4 families were living in the neighborhood at the time of the murders, including the Miyazawas. The family was planning on moving soon, just like everyone else. But little did they know, they were about to become permanent residents there, and their house, a haunting memory. On December 31st, 2000, Yasuko's mother, Haruka, became worried when she called her daughter on the phone and got no response, and when no one opened the door when she knocked. She went over to her daughter's side of the home to check. There, she found a gruesome scene. There, lying on the floor at the bottom of the stairs, was her son-in-law, Mikio. He was covered in his own blood. She became worried for the rest of the family, screaming for them. She then checked through the house. On the 3rd floor, she found another nightmare. Both her daughter and granddaughter were dead on the floor too, covered in blood. Also, she saw Ray, in bed. She might have had a ray of hope, hoping that her grandson escaped the massacre. But he was dead too. However, unlike the rest of the family, he had no wounds. Haruko called the police to tell them the family was murdered. They arrived soon after to find the mess. For most of these officers, it was the worst crime scene they had ever seen, and probably still is to this day. Many of them may have never seen a murder like this, much less 4. An investigation was made. While it was impossible to say what exactly went down that night, they do think they have an idea. December 30th, 2000, was a normal day for the family. It was a Saturday, so the family spent the day together. The family went shopping that evening around 6 o'clock p.m. at Seijo Kokorome Station and went back home around 7 o'clock. With just one more day of the New Year's, they had been buying snacks and drinks for the new year. They ate dinner and went around their activities. Mikio worked on his computer. Yasuko talked with her mom on the phone. Niina watched TV with her grandma next door until around 9:30. And Ray tucked in bed. Mikio used his computer around 10:40 to read an email that had to be put a password into it. As Mikio worked on his computer, he heard something upstairs. He probably thought his son just fell out of bed or was having a bad dream, but the reality was much worse. There, in his son's room, was a man, and this very same man was strangling his son right in front of him. As any father would do, Mikio ran into action and attacked the man. However, he was armed with a knife. He started to stab Mikio repeatedly. Despite being outmatched to the intruder, Mikio did possibly manage to injure him, according to a taxi witness later. But it was much too late for him. The intruder managed to stab him hard enough that the end of the blade broke off and engaged itself in his head. The intruder managed to make Mikio fall down the stairs as he plummeted to his death. The intruder didn't have enough though, as he stabbed him at the bottom of the stairs several times. Once he butchered Mikio, he headed back upstairs. It seems all the commotion got the attention of Yasuko and Niina. The intruder then attacked them on the first floor, doing far worse to them than he did the other two. This has led some to think that he might have been a misogynist. Soon after, he decided to switch knives. He went back downstairs to the kitchen and grabbed a knife from there. Possibly thinking their attacker fled, the girls tried to put bandages on their wounds. But soon he returned and finished the job. All of this most likely happened around 11:30. In just a short time frame, the intruder killed a family of 4. Now, most people would flee the scene, try to get as far away as possible. Maybe, if they have enough time, they will get rid of the evidence. But this man did the opposite. He made himself at home. He ate their food, such as their ice cream. He used Mikio's computer. He used the toilet and didn't flush. Swapped clothes, and even had the nerve to sleep on the couch. There's a reason this case has been nicknamed the Goldilocks murder. He was confident and cocky. There was a chance a cop could have found him asleep. On the computer, he visited the Shiki Theater Company, which was bookmarked on the computer. He even tried to buy tickets. Later, he visited the website of Mikio and Yasuko's jobs. Before leaving, he pulled the plug and took it with him. Sometime later, he left the house, leaving everything behind. Soon, Yasuko's mother got worried when her calls and knocks went unanswered. So, she went inside and found the nightmare scene. The cops were shocked when they showed up. There was one question: who did this and why? It's not every day that a whole family is murdered, especially in Japan. The community was shocked it happened to the Miyazawas, a nice family with no troubles. Why would anyone target them? It didn't seem really any valuables were missing, other than some money. The phones were not plugged in, suggesting the intruder unplugged them. The intruder did look for cabinets, though. He left all the evidence there. Investigators needed to find out how he did all this. While it's impossible to say, here's what they think happened. The intruder most likely came through the second-story bathroom. He likely got in by climbing up the fence and the air conditioner. The screen to the window was found on the ground, and his footsteps were found nearby. After getting in, he killed Ray by choking him. After this, he murdered Mikio. Mikio either heard him and ran up to the intruder, or the intruder ran up to him. It's hard to say. Yasuko and Niina heard the fight, and then the intruder found them and killed them. The knife broke, and he went to get another one. The girls healed their wounds during this, only for him to return with another knife. After that, the intruder made himself a guest, before leaving hours later. He left everything: his original clothes, the knife, his blood, fingerprints, even feces in the toilet. For the police, it was a gold mine. They thought the killer would be found in no time. It's been 25 years. Even after looking at the DNA and evidence, he has never been found. The feces were tested. They contained a meal that had string beans and sesame seeds. The fingerprints were tested, but nothing was found in the Japan databases. However, they were able to find something a little bit more interesting with his clothes. The clothes included a hat, a scarf, a down jacket, a black handkerchief, black gloves, a dark green hip bag, and Slazenger sneakers. He most likely bought most of these things at the Sagamani ward. For one, his shoes were in Korean size. Sizes differ from country to country. Korean sizes are not sold in Japan. To add to this, they found out his clothes had been washed in hard water, which is also a Korean thing. This would give the idea that the intruder was from South Korea. However, what was found in a bag added to the mystery. Investigators found some grains of sand that can only be found around the Los Angeles area in the Nevada desert, more particularly around a military base. This might give off the intruder was in the American military and was stationed in Japan. It's unknown if there was ever a test done to look at troops who were in the LA base around the time. It's believed his father was Eastern Asian and his mother South European. After looking at his blood type is Class A, and he was probably around 5'6" or 5'7". Police checked the shirt he was wearing. They found out a few had been sold in the past several months, but they got no one suspicious. A taxi driver picked up 3 men hours after the murder, one who was bleeding. Some think there might have been 3 murderers rather than 1. A hospital also treated a man with the same description as the killer on the 31st. Yasuko's sister says she saw a car parked outside the house on Christmas. A man dressed similar to the killer was seen by the people at Seijo Kakurame Station on the 29th and at Shinjukawa Station on the 30th. Witnesses thought this was strange as they thought he was underdressed for the cold weather. Whatever the case, would they attack this family? Were they a victim of a robbery gone wrong? Or were they a target? Some theories have been made for the murders. One of the first theories was that they were skaters. Neighbors would tell the police that Mikio did get in some arguments with some teenagers. Teen skaters were skating in the park nearby, and Mikio probably yelled at them for being loud, which led to some heated arguments. But would this really lead to one of them to kill an entire family? There was grip tape found in the bag. Skaters often use grip tape on their boards. It's also believed that he was in his 20s or his late teens. Many skaters are often in this age group. Another theory was someone had a grudge. Maybe Mikio ticked the wrong person off at work. However, while he supposedly did have conflicts at work, he had no known enemies. Mikio was also found in business clothes, despite it being late at night. Some people wonder if he was planning on meeting someone, and something horribly wrong. Was Mikio hiding something from his family? There's also the simple theory of a robbery gone wrong. Maybe the intruder was only there to steal. But it's possible Ray woke up and was about to yell. With nowhere to run, the intruder had to kill Ray, and then the rest of the family. Some think it was a serial killer. However, serial killers usually have routines. Their murders will usually be similar, and there were not any murderers similar to this one. Some have even theorized an inside job. Maybe it was a member of the family. It would explain why the intruder seemed to know the layout well, and was confident in staying. There's also the foreigner theory, that it might have been someone from South Korea or the USA, particularly a man in the military, yet the family members seem determined to solve this case. Other theories have gone from Yakuza to a man with mental illness. Whatever the case, he hasn't been found despite there being over 12,000 pieces of evidence left behind. Despite it being 25 years, the police haven't given up. They have told both Mikio and Yasuko's families they want to solve this. Maybe one day the killer will make a slip up and will get caught. If he was in the US military and nothing was out checked, maybe they could look at who was in the LA base or stationed in Japan at the time. Or maybe the one clue is already there, but has been missed. Until then, though, the mystery will continue. "25 years and no answers. Much has changed in Setagaya since. New buildings, new residents, and more. But one thing has stayed the same: the Miyazawa's home. Other than many belongings being put into boxes, the house is still as the family left it on that dreadful December night. It's a chilling reminder to the people who live there. A house frozen in time with no closure. Mikio's mother, Yasuko, was still alive as of 2022 at the age of 90. However, there isn't much information on her since. Her husband, Mikio's father, died some years before. There also isn't much information on Yasuko's mother, Haruka, though ChatGPT says she passed away. Setsuko hopes for a breakthrough while she's still alive. All she wants is closure before her time comes. She not only lost her son, but her daughter-in-law and 2 grandchildren. No one should have to go through that. Hopefully, if she is still around, she will get to see the clothes she wants, so she can rest in peace. So the Miyazawa family can rest in peace. The police are also hoping for more news. Some detectives who worked on the case in the early days have since retired, but new ones have replaced them and intend to keep the case going. The house is still there today. It's like a skeleton that won't be properly buried, but investigators still need it just in case. If the case ever is solved, maybe the house can be demolished and a memorial can be put in its place. Of course, maybe the house could be the memorial, so that the spirits of the family will have a home. At one point, a Buddha statue was put close to the home. Who put it there and for what reason is unknown. However, the statue is supposed to help guide children to the afterlife. Some think it was left by the killer, who had remorse, but no one really knows. Until the crime may be solved, though, the community may never be at peace. Home is supposed to be where people feel most safe. A place where they don't have to worry. But for the Miyazawa family, took all that away. For Japan, it's a scar that won't heal. 25 years have passed, and the killer is still out there. He left evidence all over, even his clothes. He even made himself at home. But despite everything, he's never been found. He might even have a family of his own, who have no idea of his past. With better DNA technology, investigators hope for a breakthrough one day. We can only hope. Today, Mikio would be 69, Yasuko would be 66, Niina would be 33, and Rei would be 31. Niina and Rei might even have their own families, but instead, they are a part of Japan's most mysterious and sad crimes. Most of the people who lived there in 2000 have since moved somewhere else, but the Miyazawas are residents forever. They are still waiting for the year 2001. Let us hope that one day the killer will face justice. Only then can the Miyazawas truly move on.